So welcome to our video here in Excel where we're going to talk about indifference point. And it's basically a support for when we want to make a capacity decision. And in particular, if we're moving from one decision to another over different volumes, we can then understand at what point do we move over into a threshold where our fixed and variable costs, as they change, it becomes beneficial based on different volumes. Where are those volume points? And so we're going to look at an example here and use the simple formula and understand how to use it for a business that distributes some refrigerated food, and they basically are growing, and they have three different options for capacity in how they transport those goods to their customers. They have a common carrier option, which basically has zero fixed cost, but a high rate per shipment, $750. So the highest of the three rates per shipment. The lowest fixed, but the highest per rate shipment. They just call the trucks in as they need them, and they get the price that they get, and on average it's $750. If they want to lower their cost overall per shipment, they need to negotiate with a local carrier, sign a contract, and say, look, I'm going to give you, I don't know how many shipments per month, but in giving all the business to you, estimated at this volume, I need a better price. And the contract carrier says, that's fine, but I want $5,000 fixed cost every month because I'm going to keep a truck available for you. A lot of my capacity is going to be on standby waiting for you, and then I'll deliver your shipments at $300 per month. Okay, and the third option that the company's looked at is said, what if we just go lease a refrigerated truck? What would be our monthly cost for a refrigerated truck, and what would be our cost if we had to hire the driver, pay for the fuel and maintenance on that truck on average? What would be our cost per delivery? Okay, the variable cost, right? So let's see here. If we take this, the indifference point is basically the point that there's no economic difference. There is economic indifference between two of these options. And it'll always be a crossover point. I put a graph down here so that you can consider if we were leasing, right, and this is the number of shipments here. If we were leasing, if we sent out one shipment, it would cost us $21,050, right? So leasing starts out very high per shipment, right, or in total cost. And our lowest cost then, of course, is common down here where we have no fixed cost and we have to spend our $750 for that first shipment. And for contract, we have to pay $5,000 per month and a lower amount, so a less steep curve here for contract because we're going up by $300 per shipment instead of $750 per shipment. Okay, these points where they intersect are called the indifference points. Let's look at how to calculate one. So what we want to do is zero out the fixed and the variable cost by taking the higher of each and the two we're going to compare and zeroing one of them out. And with the balances from those two, A minus B is how we can then divide the remaining fixed cost over the difference in variable costs. Okay, that sounds like a mouthful, but actually it's quite simple. Let's do one. So if we want to answer question one, at what volume does the total cost of common carrier equal the total cost of contract carrier? We know that's here, right? Because we got a little cheat sheet here. We got a little cheat sheet picture, but we want to calculate it. So what we would do is say, okay, we're comparing common and contract. So we want to know the difference of the higher to the lower. So this would equal 5,000. I'm going to do this in Excel for you. Minus the lower of the two, 0. So it's going to equal 5,000. This would equal the higher of the two, 750, minus the 300, 450. Okay, so we've zeroed out contract variable cost and we've zeroed out fixed common fixed cost, and we end up with 5,000 and 450. And the answer we can plug over here is very simply we divide this remaining fixed cost 5,000 by the difference remaining in the variable cost. We need 11.11 shipments to find that we don't care economically whether we are paying $750 a shipment or $5,000 a month plus $300 a shipment. At 11.11, we don't care. There's no economic difference between the two. All right, and we could round that to 11. It's very close, right? So we could say 11. Let's look at another one here just to make sure we got it. So the second question is, at what volume does the total cost of contract carrier options equal the total cost of the leasing option? That would be this indifference point, right? Lease and contract. And let's see how we would solve it. So we would find the difference of the higher to the lower. So equals 21,000 minus 5,000. $16,000 is the difference. And let's do the variable cost equals $300, the higher the two, minus $50. And we have $250. Let's find the indifference point now. Equals this remaining $16,000, right, divided by this remaining variable cost, 64 shipments. So think about it now. We've done it in Excel. Hopefully that's helpful for some of you. But let's think about what it means just briefly here. So if you're running this business, you're growing, and you have some knowledge, of course, some knowledge of your marketplace, your competitors, your customers' feelings about your business, if they're delighted or not so happy. You can feel some things and it makes some predictions about your future. And what would happen is you'd feel very good about your decision if you were very early in your growth phase about saying, yeah, we're okay with this common carrier. We're not at 11 shipments per month. We won't be for a number of months, so we're fine. But you also would now know that as we see that we're going to get up to 11 shipments per month, whether that's next week or 6 months from now, we need to be ready, because if it's a sustained increase, then we're going to want to sign a contract with somebody. So maybe we should go ahead and negotiate that and make sure it's, when we know it's coming, we should secure somebody that's ready to sign a mutually agreeable contract if it's something in these terms, or maybe we can negotiate better, right? Okay. And as we continue to grow, as volumes continue to go up, we'll see this point where we say, wow, now we can make the jump to a company truck, have complete control of our capacity, and put our logo on the side and get a keg of beer and have a little party, because maybe that's a milestone for the company to say, you know what, we can now afford our own trucks, and it makes economic sense. It's not an ego thing. It's saying that we're at this level, and you probably pull the trigger once you felt confidence that you're going to be at or stay at that level, because why not harvest that income, right? Let's go ahead and do it. That's what the value of this would be. Help you through changes in growth or decline to have the right trucking decisions as far as capacity goes and the optimal cost for your company. I hope that was informative for you and that it's useful. And that concludes our discussion about the indifference point.